Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a good lunch, or if you had some lunch at least. This is a seminar called The Future of Packaging is Digital. We will be addressing the challenges that the packaging industry is facing and how intelligent packaging and digitalization can help solve some of those challenges. We'll start by watching a short movie about the future.
I wish I could see exactly where they picked these tea leaves. It says India, but does that mean Delhi or Goa? And how did this yogurt get here? I hope it was made locally, so it didn't waste too much CO2. This packaging is recyclable, but how do we make sure more products are recycled? Mum just threw away the milk. Why? She literally bought that 2 days ago. It can't have already gone bad, can it? I'm not going to find any answers sitting here. How does the farmer make sure the oranges are good enough for our juice? He must waste so much on bad oranges.
Maybe today, but in the future, sensors and analytics will help the farmer track the ripeness of an orange or its environmental footprint. This information will be available to manufacturers and retailers to optimize the process all the way to the consumer.
Awesome! So in the future, the packaging can tell me all about the journey of the ingredients?
Exactly. But one thing is getting the raw materials. Another is making sure that the food is processed and packaged. Processing and packaging of food is quite difficult due to its sensitivity.
That's why manufacturers have so much to gain from optimizing their operations through the use of digital technologies.
How will that help anything?
In the future, manufacturers will have a real-time view of their operations. Armed with this data, they can spot both issues before they happen, as well as improvements that they didn't know existed.
All this means that they will produce more at a lower cost with a smaller environmental footprint.
That's great!
They will also be able to predict demand and quickly adjust production to make sure that your favorite products are always available. Improved process control and full traceability will also mean that low-quality products can be removed with extreme precision. This way, factories won't have to be shut down for days, nor will thousands of products have to be recalled.
Where are all my favorite foods? When I'm at the supermarket, the products are often sold out or close to expiring.
This will be solved. In the future, by using predictive analysis, retailers and e-tailers will only receive the right products in correct amounts at the right time.
This will ensure the effective use of space and enable more efficient management of product expiry dates.
Amazing! Then Mum will not have to throw away so much milk. And in the future, will I also be able to learn much more about the products I buy?
Yes, intelligent packages with interactive labels will enable transparency in terms of raw material origination, nutritional content, and ethical profile. Also, through the use of augmented reality and unique codes, food and beverage packages will be brought to life and include deals, games, and a lot of other exciting features.
I care a lot about recycling and the environment, but I think many people don't know where and how to recycle products. Sometimes it's not easy to do, I guess. Can this be improved?
This is where it gets really interesting. Cartons, recycling bins, and devices can all be connected. This will make recycling more convenient, efficient, and sustainable, and will benefit both consumers and, even more importantly, the whole planet.
Great! I find packaging a bit boring sometimes. It'd be fun if I can get mine looking exactly as I like it, like my favorite print.
In the future, you will be able to buy personalized products as the supply chain will be flexible enough to create unique products much faster. That means your favorite can have any print or design you want, and you can choose the flavors you like.
How can people afford it? That sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money.
Not necessarily.
Digital technologies will dramatically lower production costs, and the time from production to consumption will be shorter, so there will be a lot less waste.
How are you, my darling?
I'm good, but I'll be even better soon.
At Tetra Pak, we are committed to improving sustainability, flexibility, and productivity in the food and beverages industry. By making smarter use of tomorrow's technologies, we aim to unleash the true power of connectivity. We are ready to connect consumers to producers and farms to forks. Let's make food smarter together.
Thank you. We'll continue on that sort of visionary note by introducing a panel which we've asked to really stretch their minds and look into the future. And we have some real experts on stage. Please help me in welcoming the Deputy Head of Intelligent Packaging from Stora Enso, Juha Maijala. And thank you. And the VP Cross-Portfolio from Tetra Pak, Mr. Ivan Nesterenko. Pleasure to have you. Welcome. And Innovation Leader, Innovation and Strategic Projects from Billerud Korsnäs, holding his very own water bottle package in his hand, Mr. Lars Sandberg.
Perfect.
Pleasure to have you. Please join the visionary panel. So what we're going to do here is really like start very visionary, and then the three of you will talk more about how you work. But in the future, how do you think the demand for packaging will be influenced by consumer demand? Who wants to start?
I can start it. So if I see it from the consumer part, as we see it also, quite strong emphasis on sustainability. And nevertheless, thinking about the packages as has it been earlier, I see that the future is turning that it will enable a much better sustainability. And that's actually by the video you see how less is products manufactured for the right purpose. And I feel that that's really the key here.
What other demands are we going to see from a consumer perspective, Mr. Nesterenko?
Yeah. I also see that consumers change completely their behavior today, and they are used to predictability, and they would expect also their package to communicate to them some values and also predict their behavior and help them to choose the right product at the right time, at the right moment.
Mr. Sandberg?
Oh, I totally second the two last, and sustainability is a really big drive, and part of that is not losing things in the value chain, losing it from food going bad, or losing it from food being okay but not being used, thought to be good, bagged, or some just theft in the value chain, and intelligent packaging can be a big part of that.
What are some of the bolder demands that consumers will have? I mean, if you would have to adapt to real pressure, what would be really difficult consumer demands in the future?
For me, most difficult demand is personalization, because consumers want individual products, and it really stretches the whole industry into how can you provide a mass product, but every product should be customized to individual demand of the consumer.
In a sustainable way.
In a sustainable way. So it is really difficult challenge.
Other aspect, what I'm seeing is manufacturing for the demand. As, like you said, let's stretch for the future, and let's really think about that it goes beyond, in a way, our expectations. It means that the consumer will demand a certain product, like the juice that we saw in the movie, that I want it. It might be in the future that they want it to be manufactured when they need it.
Like you go into a bar or a juice bar or something.
Even
you expect
close to that one, of course, the world is never perfect. But in a way, in that one, you control in a better way the use of raw materials.
And in the city environments, we see that. I know in Shanghai, there's like a coffee vendor who says we can have coffee at your office within 10 minutes with electricity-powered scooters who deliver. So we're expecting things to go really quickly. Let's have our audience as our sort of futurologist here. Hands up those of you who believe that consumer demands will substantially influence the packaging industry in the future. I would say that's about 50-60%. Not everyone, though. What about how packaging could become a driver for product demand or for loyalty? How can the packaging make the ingredient more special and more special to the consumer? What do you think will be done here, and what is expected from large brands?
No, I think that we've seen that kind of vision for a long time. We know that interacting with packaging makes you much more likely to buy it. Active packaging can be a part of that, and something that have stopped that is kind of, it's a small emerging market, and it's very profitable in big volumes. And now we are together taking steps so that we are kind of skipping this step of small volumes and really going for the big juice, so to say. That's interesting.
I would see freshness, really, in that sense, kind of how the product is as good as possible that you can guarantee. We have used this kind of a methodology that we're using today within the delivery of juices and fruits and similar. But with the digitalized packages, you can actually secure it in a better way, you can deliver it in a better way, you can storage them in a better way. So that's, I would say that the consumer experience is also about the taste, actually. It's not only about the package, it's actually experience with the product inside.
What are the winners, those who are really exploring in this area? Can you give us some examples of what are they doing with packaging?
Today.
Yes, today.
So if I start, in a way, there was a really good point in the movie. I like the fridge there that the girl was using. So actually, in Business Sweden booth, there is an actual similar kind of a fridge, which is intelligent cabinet. So it's really kind of things that we are pushing on the markets. Of course, it's not everywhere, but it's a beginning. So you can find it on the booth in the middle of there, but that's kind of a journey. So we are in the beginning of a journey now. So I feel that very strongly.
I'm going to ask, yes?
We have also good examples of collaborating with the startups where we do also some gamification for younger consumers, where through this we also can educate them on some products, on some values, like nutritional value of the products and need for right nutrition. So these are examples of things which happen, and there are plenty of startups who want to collaborate in this space.
I'm thinking the packaging must be smart and have a value in itself. It should be part of some type of consumer experience, if I hear you correctly.
Yeah. No, but you can see it in, and I think that we see it in luxury packaging, we see it in pharmaceutical packaging, that these kind of items are coming there. They are creating value, they are enhancing your use of the product, taking it at the right time, getting more information when you use it, and so on. So, and that, with lower cost, will also creep down to other types of products.
It can be a learning tool, a support tool.
Absolutely, and also related to pricing. You touched that you go in and you buy something, and what the price that you pay is related to demand, and the demand and price will be dynamic.
Dynamic pricing, where the carrier of that is the packaging.
Yeah, so if you wait 5 more minutes, it will be a little bit more less expensive.
Very interesting. Is anyone experimenting with that at the moment?
I'm not sure. Do you have examples?
So again, we have the one example.
Yeah.
So it's the intelligent cabinet solution. So there we actually connecting the expiry dates of the products. So we have itemized, like Ivan explained, the products and the packages. And with that one, you can see that, for example, if you have a store space there and the goods are going bad within 1 day or 2 days, you can start kind of a consumer-driven replenishment, which means that the consumer, of course, will favor that less food waste is created.
So it's a way of solving sustainability challenges as well.
And the same way that Ivan explained that then, for example, the one-to-one communication with the smartphones, that people can see that, okay, it's still valid, you can make alerts, you can make programs, what to do, how to utilize this product, which is going soon out of the best before date.
I see 2 very simple cases where there is a value of more smart packages. One is today, in some countries, we have all the description of ingredients in like 4 or 5 languages, which I cannot see anymore. I don't wear glasses. But in fact, there are some new, like a plant-based drinks, where there are some ingredients which are not necessarily good for some people with, with allergies. So in that case, if your device could alarm you if this product is good for you or not, so if a package can communicate to you on that, that would be really a good, simple value.
Do we see a future where the packaging itself is so intelligent we don't need a second screen to use to augment sort of the content or the text or the images? Can this also be like a microcomputer in the future?
We see it a bit differently. We see that the package probably will have some sensors which can communicate directly with your devices and with your IoT systems. where all your profile is already in, and that is why it can basically communicate to you and predict and do some action on your behalf. So
On another screen or another device?
No, even not on device, because in fact, the decision of what will be ordered from the shop will be taken without you being involved, just knowing your profile and having this information in the systems.
So super customization.
Super customization, but also capability of intelligence of the package to do some decisions on your behalf, right? To communicate when you drink the water, you basically send a signal to the systems where you don't need to put your device out. It communicates automatically, and then system already decide for replenishment of the products, and that's what we discussed today. That's one of the future scenarios.
How many of you, hands up, see packaging as a driver to influence consumption or having like you're saying instructions that the packaging itself is a carrier of much more than the ingredient? Hand up. That's also like 60%, yeah. Like the final question to your panel will be, how can you contribute, you meaning the packaging industry, to more sustainable solutions? And how, if you see 10 years ahead, how will the demand for more sustainable solutions pressure you, and what will be the result of that?
I think that's very much what we always have been around to protect what's in the package, or what the goods that are being transported. And if we go, we know that food waste is one of the biggest sources for climate gases and everything. We are wasting a huge amount of food. That is for packed goods and even more for not packed goods. And if we take a few steps forward, using the goods that we actually ship better, minimizing waste, and so obviously we have a big role to play in that. And yeah.
And how could digitalization help save the packaging industry?
It's actually, in a way, surely commenting the Lars' point of view. I see also that the renewability from the material selection point of view is really important. That we secure that these things that protect the goods are as renewable as possible. With this one, we can, keep the planet ongoing. And the other one is about the digitalization. So in many cases, I give an example that nowadays the world is used to barcodes. You manufacture 200 million packages and products, and then you send them out to the world. And let's say 40%, 40 million, 50 million are waste. We need to be more digitalized. We need to be more itemized, that we can control what is the correct amount of manufacturing goods and transporting them to the consumer.
So
and thus you decrease the waste, but you serve the customers in the same level. That's truly sustainable.
So there's no conflict between mass customization and sustainability then?
Yes, and I see also that when we say sustainability, it is food waste, but as well as packaging waste. And when we talk about these solutions, the biggest value will come when it will be a traceability all across along the value chain, right? In that case, when everything is traceable, it also changes the behavior, right? And even consumers, when they will know the origins of the packaging, of the food, when the systems will allow us to predict and kind of, when you buy things only when you need them, so we will have less food waste. When we increase efficiency of supply chain, so every point in the supply chain with this transparency will drive efficiencies, and efficiencies are very much linked with sustainability, right? You will have waste, and then when it comes to packaging waste, of course, it's very important to build partnerships and solutions at the end of the value chain in areas like recycling.
And in that sense, kind of addition to the consumer part, if we go that it might be even so in the future, that consumers, there are algorithms, there are applications, apps, that people can see what has been the CO2 emissions of manufacture, deliver, sell, and to use that product. So people can change their behavior more and more towards sustainable behavior.
We can see that the communication, the customer communication, the end consumer communication is going to be really important, because the nudging, the helping us make the right choices, will the help of AI and other augmenting technologies are going to help us, but we also we need really good communication to make those smart choices.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, hands up if you think that digitalization will lead to greater sustainability within the packaging industry. That's only about 50%. Thank you, gentlemen, for looking forward. I'm going to ask each of you, I'm going to keep you, Mr. Nestenko, on stage, and I'm going to ask each of you to tell us more, go behind the scenes of your operations and tell us more on what you're working with. So I'll start with you and then we'll meet
Excellent.
you. Thank you so much. And you can have a seat.
So we had such an interesting start of the discussions, and more interesting, in this video we also see what can happen in the future when all of us start working in the direction of bringing sustainable and also intelligent packaging to life. So for me, the world today has changed, and if we think about our industry, which I represent, consumer goods and specifically food and beverage industry, it is just at the point of the serious digital transformation, on serious change. And it is not only driven by digital transformation of our daily lives, we are, all of us, 24/7 now online, but it is also driven by big sustainability challenges, which, by the way, also awareness which we bring today to the world about the issues with oceans and other things which happen is enabled by digital technologies, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be so big, and we are forced to change our ways of working. So these are two biggest trends and biggest moves. One is sustainability, another one, the digital transformation of our lives. Those really drive big, dramatic change and put a very strong challenges and requirements in the food and beverage industry, and as a result, in the whole packaging-related industry. When it comes to packaging itself, I see two major forces which drive changes into packaging requirements. What is new for packaging? So I think one of those biggest drivers is e-commerce. When e-commerce is on the rise, what you see that now our products are not anymore nicely packed in the group packages in the pallets distributed to the shops, then you put you in your bag and you safely bring it home. Instead, they're all thrown with the different items in the same bag, and they kind of compete with each other and even interact, meaning hit each other, which is not good. And we see it's a big puzzle for all e-commerce suppliers. How do you protect them? And in a way, solutions which are today are also not so sustainable because they put a lot of cautions around the packages. So this is also driving very different requirements on the physical part of the package. But there is other part which is related more to digitalization. Now, brand owners don't have anymore this luxury of communicating on the shelves to their consumers with the big displays, because we buy this product from the small screen of the phone. We take decision without seeing product well, so even what is written on the package is not clear now. And then when we take it home, we are on our own in this first moment of truth. So at this moment, you need to do something different in the way you communicate your product, in the way you communicate your value. And these are this is the biggest trend. But today I want to focus on another biggest trend, which we already touched a lot today, is a rise of new consumer. And I call this consumer intelligent consumer. Will it move? Yes. And in fact, intelligent consumer, you think is a person who has much higher IQ as before, and good news, yes it is, but not because we become more smart. It's just because every one of us have instant access to the whole knowledge and wisdom of the world, right? And that means that we also change our behavior in the way we buy things. And it is not so good anymore for producers, because I want things as personalized as I get today. My page in Instagram and anything can be customized easily. And people start thinking that physical products also should be so easily customized and really produced and done for me, which of course brings a huge challenge into production and into flexibility. You need to bring such things as a digital printing and other technologies into the space to drive it. On the other hand, we also take decisions based on our friends' decisions. So we become very social, and we either buy products or we completely reject them. So if you are a lucky producer with a good brand and don't make mistake, you make a viral product. If you make a small mistake in the digital media, it will be basically your product will be killed next day. It's changed a lot in the way you should communicate your brand value, and in a way, everything what we asked today at the beginning of the panel, how we really build right, transparent approach and sustainable approach to your products. So these are the things which are on demand. The last point from this consumer, they want things now. And this is where basically we talk about delivering on time, delivering in 10 minutes, but probably in the future they want it already delivered when they think about the product. So my statement that we basically need intelligent packaging for intelligent consumer. And we already talked a lot. In summary, we need this package to connect, to communicate, to interact, but also to bring real value to the final user. Today, package only protects the package and brings just basic information, but in the future it should play a much bigger role. And I will not go further, as we already discussed a lot about it. So what do we do today in our company, together with our partners? We already started this journey. We first learned how to codify every package, because first you need really to put a passport on this package to make this product unique. Then you can start tracing it. But of course, in order to trace it, you need to create a platform, kind of a data management platform, and then start agreeing with every player in the value chain that they also connect to the same clouds, to the same platform, in order to have a full traceability of the product. This where we are now. We just started with a codifying the package. We just created the first digital packaging platform, connected package platform. We also created a simple apps for consumers where they can start interacting with the package. We bring some content and value. But is it enough? I think it's just a starting first small step. In what we discussed today, in the challenges of sustainability, in thinking how our future as a consumers will change, our demand will change, it is clearly not enough. So in that context, I think what is the future? Future for us is we need to rethink what future consumer will look like. How this intelligence, constant intelligence will drive us much further than today. And in that context, we see the need for such things like intuition in the package, meaning package together with artificial intelligence, with IoT platform, should predict your behavior and bring products in the right moment to you. And that will, in fact, enrich the whole supply chain. This is like one example of it. And of course, the other things which need to be solved through means of digital technologies is all sustainability issues which we manage. So my key question today to the panel and to all of us to reflect, it's good that some of us start on this journey, but how can we collaborate in order to build together this future intelligent package for intelligent consumer?
Thank you, Mr. Nestrenko. Just stay. We do have time for Q&A. Anyone has a question that they would like to ask Mr. Nestrenko? Can you tell me who are the vital players in such an ecosystem? Who really needs to participate to drive the development forward?
First of all, I think we need all physical companies who are part of the so-called food value chain, right? From the farmers, as we saw in the picture, to recycling companies and those who deliver. On the second, of course, we need all the players from digital technologies industries, because there we see a lot is ongoing on technology level. We talk about blockchain, we talk about AI.
You mean the technology vendors?
Technology, those companies who really can provide the technologies and backbone and platforms for us. And we are already partnering with some of those companies. And of course, we need a lot of startups who have this really futuristic thinking, and they really dream and they bring new ideas into that space.
Let's see, do we have any questions? Yes? Please tell us who you are so we know sort of your background and the context.
Well, I'm actually from Tetra Pak Services, and the question related to a connected package. What do you think are the main challenges in connecting the package for the industry? Is it more on the technology side or the consumer side or partnership side? What are the main challenges you see there?
I think for these first steps which I defined today, collaboration across, agreeing on the same set of rules and build more partnership along the value chain and across different industries, complementing industries. This is the biggest challenge. How to scale up, how to come from small projects and pilots into really wide scalable industry solution.
Thank you, Mr. Nesterenko, for joining us today.
Thank you.
So I would like to invite back the Deputy Head of Intelligent Packaging from Stora Enso, Juha Maijala.
Thank you.
Your turn to look not just into the future, but behind the scenes of what you're doing at Stora Enso.
Yep, thank you. So I will start what we're actually doing today, because what Stora Enso Intelligent Packaging is doing is that we are stretching for the future, but we are already acting today. So, like Ivan said, we have started. We are on a really long journey, but the most important thing that we have started. And what we have started is that last year, 2018, we launched sustainable eco RFID tags to the world. So we have created a sustainable RFID, which is the true digital connectivity between items and systems around them. So where Stora Enso Intelligent Packaging is focusing is not one-to-one communication. We want to digitalize the one-to-many. Automation, making things simple, making things flow. And the main thing here is that the world is changing, how we are able to keep the services and kind of a society working in the way that it has been, but all the time with the really, really high speed, keep it developing. And in addition to that one, that we have the Eco RFID paper-based tags, so we use renewable materials. It's one of the most sustainable and scalable technology that is out the world at the moment. We bring solutions already to the market that we can provide this kind of a one-to-many automation traceability, item-level traceability in industrial side and also in retail side. And what we have brought out is, for example, new retail solution, which is kind of an intelligent cabinet that you saw in the video. It's about to bring a simple and automated unmanned store solution to a kind of a brick and mortar level. And why we are working with this one is that, for example, if you think about the society in Japan, they have a situation that the population is getting older. There is actually less and less people able to do the work in convenience stores. So there is a lack of resources in convenience stores in Japan. So there is really a governmental program ongoing in Japan that they need to go to automated unmanned store solution. And it's a journey. They are planning to be there somewhere in 2025 or something like that. But that's the world we are going. Enable things that we are used to. The other one, what I want to bring out is really the mass itemization. So one-to-many means that, for example, if you have a pallet going out from the farmers to the manufacturing side, it's usually that you have in the pallet, you have hundreds of products. And normally the thing is that you say that you have 200 products in the pallet, it's going forward. In future, that is not enough. We need to know that it's 197 products in this pallet. They are manufactured on this week, and the other part of the products are manufactured on that week. So we need to be more precise on the data that we are able to get from the fields, from the kind of floor level in the warehouses, and to the floor level of the retail stores. So accuracy of the data is the key. It's not about the fancy apps and softwares that we have. Of course, we need them. But the physical data connected to the cloud platforms and similar ways, they need to be accurate. And this one is the reason we are focusing on RFID technology and the ways to itemize high volumes of goods. Last but not least, in a way, is the example of sustainability. It's a kind of a heritage of Stora Enso, and we, in a way, we are actually pretty proud of our solutions at the moment. So we are really pushing the digital connectivity to be as sustainable as possible, and we want to be the thought leader in that area. So think about the future. In the future, we are not going to sell or send out from the manufacturing site 200,000 packages per week. We are going to sell and send 168,252 packages and products because they are needed in the market. That's kind of our vision where we want this industry to go. And finally, before ending my part of the presentation, reminder so that in the Business Sweden collab area and the booth area, they are really tangible demonstrators, the cases, they're out to be seen. So visit the booth and learn more.
Thank you, Mr. Maijala. Can I ask you, if I understood correctly, your RFID tags that you are producing are made out of paper?
Yes.
And 100% recyclable?
Yes. When you attach those to the packages, carton board packages like that one, if you have it there, you can throw it to a carton board recycling.
It's so cool. And can you also talk more about how the information layer that you're building on top of packaging, how that learning can be brought back to the manufacturer, and to how to close that loop? Because you're talking about predictability, you're talking about how we can manage manufacturing, but how does that what does that learning platform look like that you're enabling by making the packaging smarter?
I actually turn it around a little bit. I would say that actually we are learning and our partners are learning. So it's about learning together. So in that sense, for example, it's not, of course, Stora Enso is providing the cloud platform. We have built our solution off top of Microsoft Azure. They are scalable. We have different kind of partners like NXP, Impinji. We work with these gentlemen here. It's about the partnership. It's about enabling the reach, the availability.
But I mean, bringing that data back to, say, the manufacturer of shoes or packaged goods or food. How is that loop closed?
It's actually with these kind of smart devices. In the world we are living, it's the way that what the internet enables. It's the connectivity tool. So the farmers in Asia are using the same setup that farmers in US are using. And that all needs to be connected together. And we are going towards that one. There are great initiatives to take this forward, but it's a combination of those. Blockchain, RFID, QR codes, smartphones, they all play a vital role here.
But as the cost of technology is going down, what you're saying is there's a real democratization of knowledge to any kind of producer in the world. I mean, even like a small producer will have the same ability to trace, for traceability or for customer feedback in the future.
Yeah, or even the small farmer can be part of a bigger entity, not in a way taken out, but be part of that one. And consumers can, for example, prefer of these products to use the small farmer ingredients.
And with blockchain technology, even get paid for their goods.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maijala.
Thank you.
Thanks for the inspiration. And Mr. Sandberg, last but not least, from Billerud-Korsnäs, Sustainability Director. What if paper could power the future of packaging?
Perfect.
That's your theme.
Thank you.
I'll leave it to you.
Thank you for excellent pronunciation of Billerud-Korsnäs. How many of you can say Billerud-Korsnäs? It's not an easy name to say, but we're quite an easy company to understand. We are about challenging conventional packaging for a sustainable future. So everything that we do about that. And we are on the green side of the circular economy. We are using sunlight and carbon dioxide. We are using the material produced by nature. We are creating material that can be used in packaging, that can be either brought back and used several times or be brought back to carbon dioxide again. So that is the side that we are on, and that is what we are doing. And then you can think, how does that really go with what we have talked about here, intelligent packaging, adding things, adding electronics and so on onto packaging. And I think the key answer is that we together with others, for example, our good competitors in Stora Enso, who are creating excellent tags for readability and using a sustainable raw material to do that. We are trying to fill a small gap in this chain. For some applications, for active packaging and intelligent packaging, you would need a power source. And of course, that doesn't go very well with sending out a sustainable package, including a small battery. So we actually picked up some research from Uppsala University. There is a real star there, Maria Strömmer. He's a household name in Sweden when it comes to researchers. He's a real superstar. And she kind of created a type of energy storage using a microcellulose and a polymer. And we have taken that, and together with Maria, we created a battery that is basically paper fibers and a polymer based on forest raw materials. So that is it. And we have been working hard in laboratory, we've been working hard in pilots, we are going towards producing this in a full scale. And I touched that a little bit before. Producing something like this in a full scale when intelligent packaging is an emerging market, it's a trick, because our full scale, and we talk really full scale, we talk thousands of tons. We are the best people in the world to operate the most ideal machines to produce big surfaces in an exact way, meaning something as boring as a paper or board machine. So we have adapted the technology in the way so that we can produce it on a board machine, enabling low cost, sustainable products and really high production field. So that also shifts us as a company to some extent. You can see us as selling a function. We are selling a service of containing and holding materials. Now we are shifting and we are selling a service that is actually containing energy. We can use this material to actually fold the package and give it a small amount or amount of energy that can be used for services like keeping the food fresh, knowing that the food has been freshed, knowing that what circumstances this package has been exposed to, preventing theft, and also do things like create interaction. You touched before, could you do a display on a package? Yeah, we could. We already do that for luxury packaging. You could do that also for more low-cost packaging. And we can do a lot of things that start interacting with the consumers. And by that, I bring it back to where we started about collaboration. So we can fill a small part in this value chain, but there is no chance that we can do it without companies like Tetra Pak, like Stora Enso, and all the other partners here that go together, create a matrix of different knowledge and different skills, and actually move this forward. And our aim is really, really clear. This is not to add more electronics. This is to create a more sustainable future using the skills that we have. So that was basically it, I think.
That's not basically, that's amazing. And this feels like felt.
Yeah, it is similar to felt in some way, yeah.
And if I want to power something and say a little screen here, how much of this do I need?
It depends really what you want to do, but this is just an example. This is a small logger with a paperboard battery in it. Oh, sorry about that. So this can power, a small amount of this can power this for quite a sustainable time, logging light and logging logging temperature for a shipment, for example. And we are just beginning on this. We are learning, we are slowly learning something totally new for us.
Because what I can see is that if you add creativity here, one could see that a package could be like today it's a stable kind of shape, but it could change in shape, it could change in temperature, it could change in color.
It could open itself if you want to. Yeah.
And who do you need to have on your team to come up with these kind of solutions?
We are trying to recruit Juha, but he's very stubbornly and stupidly staying by the competitors. But no, we are actually, we talked about before working with startups and so on. We are doing that through venturing. We are working with really, really smart people like Maria Ström and her team. So I think it's, once again, we talk about collaboration. That's really, really it. So.
Are you in a way moving up the value chain because you become more of a packaging partner, a partner for consumer and customer solutions? This is not only, of course, business to consumers. I can see great industrial potential in this as well.
We are, as a company, we are selling services, we are creating systems and so on. So we are moving up the value chain in that way. Still, we rely very much on our base and our knowledge, and that is creating a sustainable material that can create value further on in the value chain. But we are absolutely doing efforts like that.
Besides Mr. Majala, what kind of people do you need to recruit in order to really come up with these like unforeseen solutions in a way? Because we envisage packaging very much like being something square and flat and a little bit stable.
No, I think that Tetra Pak is a forerunner in, for example, using industrial designers and consumer insights to create new types of packaging. And not only seeing it as a physical package, but also creating a service and an experience around that package. But we are really trying to do, we have some people we have Sanna here, who is not an extremely new recruit, but a new recruit, researcher working with different parts of this battery solution. We have Isak somewhere here. We have we have a lot of people that we are trying to pick that comes from different areas, from the electronics area, from the research side and so on. So we could absolutely be better in that, but it's so fun to work in the forest industry now. 10 years ago we were these boring people, kind of, the forest industry, base material and so on. Now we are going like rockets through the recruiting scales and so on, and people, really young people, they want a purpose. What could be a better purpose than to work for a company making sustainable packaging?
Do we have any more questions to Mr. Sandberg? Any applications rolling in? Job applications? Yes, here's a question for you.
One question: in a market where even 1 cent more expensive packaging is basically resulting in price increases for the consumer, do you have any numbers on how much a consumer is willing to pay more for a sustainable pack?
For a sustainable package, it's a tricky, and I guess it depends on where you would ask. We have a very clear view, and we know that other partners in the industry is saying that sustainability is not something that we put on the outside. Sustainability is what is driving our business. And I've been in a situation where you're sitting with really serious customers of ours or customers to our customers, saying that, okay, sorry, we cannot work with plastic anymore. It's not a way that we can go forward. And then it comes to a totally new paradigm. It's not a question about this package or that package. It's about this product or this product. This product is sustainable, this is not. So we have to go with that product. It's really, really hard to answer. But we are quite clear that people are prepared to pay more for a sustainable solution.
And if you load the packaging with intelligence and functionality, it has a value in itself, not just holding value for that somebody else has produced. And then you may be able to charge more.
Charge more is maybe not what it's about, but it's about creating a service. It's not about the product. It's about the service that the product creates for the end user. And obviously, the package is a really, really big part of that. Everybody drinking whiskey know that the bottle is a big part of the whiskey experience, for example. So absolutely.
Now you can have your own light show on the whiskey bottle. Yes.
I will do that for next time. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Sandberg.
Brilliant.
Thank you for joining us on stage. Perfect. So we thought we would leave you with some food for thought, looking in a broader context on how digitalization are changing business models and customer engagement in the industry. And we're going to invite with us somebody who spends his day thinking about this. It's Mr. Fredrik Lazouf, who is the CEO of Tacton. You're our last speaker, and please help us open our minds.
Sure, thank you very much. Well, it's not easy to be just coming after you, great panel of experts. So I'm the CEO of Tacton, and just for the context, we're a software vendor helping manufacturing companies digitize their commerce and customer engagement approach. And one thing that I want you to reflect is what we've seen so far. It's a lot of focus on the consumer and actually a lot on packaging. I'm going to take an angle which is a bit more on the digital side and a little bit more into B2B, since right here we're a lot of people in that space. The first thing that we need to think about is the era of the customer. And I think that we heard that already through the panels. Independently if it's a consumer, a B2C consumer or a B2B buyer, that's the era of the customer. We all know that the customer want everything custom, everything now, and everything easy. And of course that's the challenge. How do we address this segment of one, or this lot size one? We heard before about the mass itemization. In any case, all here in the room, we cannot compete on price, right? So we need to compete on value. And that value is, of course, by delivering this custom experience or this individual experience. But we cannot do that, of course, by doing it non-profitable. And this is why we need to think about mass individualization or mass customization. And once you've been putting together this solution for specifically dedicated, done for this consumer, how do you price this? And how do you use data to make sure that you get the right pricing for that specific solution to the customer? So that was the first thing, mass individualization, mass customization. The second thing that we're seeing, independently if it's you in the industry or us in the software industry, because there's a similarities in terms of change or impact on our business models. We came in the software industry that we were selling perpetual licenses, and then we were doing a deal and then maybe helping a little bit the customer and then seeing each other 5 years later. Same for the manufacturing industry. You were selling a big piece of machinery, a one-off, and then no engagement over time. And now we know that all this is changing. You want to get in touch with the customer, independently a B2B buyer or the consumer that we've seen previously, over the life cycle. You want to build your brand. I think that's from Tetra Pak, we heard about the brand, how you build your brand over this life cycle. Of course, this shift in business model, selling the asset as a service and going to a more servitization. At the end, you're in the service business, even if you're producing big machinery, has an impact as well on the way you engage with the customer. And this customer journey, as mentioned. Last, to end up here, it's about the consumerization of the B2B buying process. What is a B2B buyer? At the end of the day, it's nothing more than a consumer going to work, right? And when you want to buy a new pair of Nike shoe, you go on the web, you start playing with the product, engaging with the brand super early. You don't speak to a sales rep. And we're seeing that as well in the packaging industry for machine and solution builders, is you need to engage really early on, and that's where digital is not only digital sustainability, traceability, but it's as well a lot of marketing and sales. And to do that, what we're seeing is a lot of great technologies. Of course, the better engagement through tools as what we're doing, CPQ, configure price quote, but as well 3D visualization, augmented reality. You want to play with your product early on before buying. So all in all, that was just food for thought. Think about that. It's a lot about the customer journey and how you engage with the customer through the life cycle. And I'm going to end up here just by reflecting on, I think, what you three said really well. It's no one of you is a one-stop shop, right? And what we see as well is from the software industry is exactly the same. We need to play the ecosystem. And at the end, one day you partner, one day you compete, but really making sure that we're collaborating, partnering together. So on this note, I will leave it, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lazo. Beyond the tech solution, what's needed in terms of skills and competence, capabilities to enhance the B2B selling process?
I think it's a lot about, I would say it's two or three things. It's about new roles in the companies. We need to have digital natives in our firms, independently if you're a firm that has been around for 200 years. Then it's about modern leadership and building great culture. And this is where I think the manufacturing industry has a lot to learn from the tech industry, and where cross-fertilization has a tremendous potential.
So what capabilities are needed?
Data. We all know that it's all about data at the end, so more data scientists. And then people, new roles that we're seeing the customer success manager, someone that it's not about selling, but making sure that the experience of the product, independently if it's the experience of a consumer good or the experience of a Tetra Pak machinery.
I'm also seeing more of knowledge transfer, more of like you being not my vendor, but my learning partner. We're talking so much about skills and competence. I think that should be part of the package too.
Definitely.
Any more questions to Mr. Lazo? I'd like you to turn around and look at our gentleman here on the front to see, was this a relevant session to you? Hands up. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Sandberg, Mr. Nesterenko, and Mr. Maila, and Mr. Lazo for joining us. And to everyone, have a great afternoon and continue exploring the exhibition, the fair. Thank you.
Thank you.